The first time Caitlin Robertson stepped in front of a camera, she had no idea that single moment would transform her from a small-town girl with big dreams into one of Instagram's most captivating fashion influencers. But success rarely announces itself with fanfare. Sometimes it whispers through the lens of a camera, waiting for someone brave enough to listen. If you're passionate about the stories behind the faces that inspire millions, make sure to subscribe to Sweet Models World. We bring you the untold journeys of the models and influencers who are redefining beauty standards and making their mark on the fashion industry. Hit that subscribe button and join our community of dreamers and believers. Caitlin Robertson's story begins far from the glamorous runways and perfectly curated Instagram feeds that define her today. Growing up in a modest neighborhood where fashion magazines were luxuries and designer clothes were distant fantasies, Caitlin learned early that style wasn't about what you could afford but how you carried yourself. Her mother, a seamstress who worked long hours at a local tailor shop, would bring home fabric scraps and together they would create outfits that turned heads at school. Those evenings spent threading needles and sketching designs planted seeds that would later blossom into a career most people only dream about. The journey wasn't linear, and it certainly wasn't easy. While other teenagers were worried about weekend plans and social hierarchies, Caitlin was studying fashion blogs, analyzing what made certain looks timeless, while others faded into obscurity. She understood instinctively that fashion was a language, and she was determined to become fluent. Her bedroom walls were covered not with posters of celebrities, but with mood boards she created herself, collages of colors, textures, and silhouettes that spoke to something deeper than trends. This wasn't just about looking good. This was about telling stories through fabric and form. When Caitlin first created her Instagram account, the platform was still finding its identity as a space for visual storytelling. She didn't have professional equipment or a team of photographers. What she had was a smartphone, a mirror, and an unwavering belief that authenticity would always triumph over perfection. Her early posts were raw and unfiltered, showing not just the final looks but the process behind them. She would document thrift store finds, explaining how a vintage belt could transform a basic outfit or how mixing high street pieces with carefully chosen accessories could create a high-fashion aesthetic on a budget. The response was slow at first, trickling in like morning light through curtains. A few likes here, a handful of followers there. But Caitlin wasn't discouraged. She had learned patience from her mother, who would spend hours perfecting a single hem, understanding that quality takes time. Every post was intentional, every caption carefully crafted to connect with people who saw fashion not as exclusionary, but as accessible art. She shared her failures as openly as her successes, posting about outfits that didn't work and explaining why, turning mistakes into learning opportunities for her growing audience. What set Caitlin apart in an increasingly crowded digital landscape was her genuine passion for making fashion inclusive. She refused to perpetuate the myth that style required a certain body type, bank account, or zip code. Her content celebrated diversity in all its forms, featuring outfit ideas for different seasons, body shapes, and budgets. She would style the same dress 3 different ways, proving that versatility was more valuable than volume. This approach resonated deeply with young women who were tired of being told they needed complete wardrobe overhauls to be fashionable. The breakthrough moment came unexpectedly, as these moments often do. Caitlin had posted a series showcasing how to transition work outfits into evening looks using simple changes in accessories and styling. The post went viral, not because it was revolutionary, but because it was practical. Women shared it with friends, tagged colleagues, and suddenly Caitlin's follower count exploded. Brands started noticing. Small boutiques reached out for collaborations, then medium-sized retailers, and eventually major fashion houses wanted to work with this influencer who had built her platform on authenticity rather than aspiration. But success brought new challenges. The pressure to constantly create content, to maintain relevance in an algorithm-driven world, to balance sponsored posts with genuine recommendations tested Caitlin's resolve. There were moments of doubt, late nights where she questioned whether she was selling out or staying true to her original mission. The industry can be intoxicating, offering opportunities that come with strings attached, partnerships that promise exposure but require compromising values. Caitlyn navigated these waters carefully, turning down lucrative deals that didn't align with her brand and accepting smaller collaborations with companies whose ethics matched her own. Her approach to sponsored content became a masterclass in transparency. Unlike influencers who seamlessly integrated ads without disclosure, Caitlyn was upfront about partnerships while ensuring that every product she promoted was something she genuinely used and believed in. She would test items extensively, provide honest reviews, and never recommend something solely for the paycheck. This integrity built trust with her audience, transforming casual followers into a loyal community that valued her opinions because they knew those opinions couldn't be bought. As her platform grew, so did her influence beyond fashion. Caitlyn began using her voice to address issues she cared deeply about, from sustainable fashion practices to body positivity movements. She partnered with organizations working to reduce textile waste, showcasing vintage and secondhand fashion not as budget alternatives, but as environmentally conscious choices. Her posts about learning to love her body in an industry obsessed with unrealistic standards sparked conversations that went viral, with thousands of women sharing their own stories of struggle and acceptance. The fashion industry took notice, not just of her follower count, but of her impact. Invitations to fashion weeks arrived, not as a token influencer presence, but as a respected voice in the conversation about where fashion was heading. Caitlyn walked into those spaces remembering the girl who once cut up old jeans to make something new, the teenager who believed style was for everyone. She brought that perspective to front rows and backstage meetings, advocating for diversity in sizing, representation in campaigns, and sustainability in production. Her content evolved from simple outfit posts to comprehensive looks at fashion's intersection with culture, psychology, and social issues. She created series exploring how clothing affects confidence, how fashion can be a form of self-expression and healing, and how the industry needed to change to reflect the diverse world it served. These weren't just pretty pictures with inspirational captions. These were thoughtful examinations that challenged her audience to think critically about consumption, identity, and the power of personal style. Behind the curated feed and professional collaborations, Caitlyn remained remarkably grounded. She spoke openly about mental health, about the pressure of maintaining a public persona, about days when she didn't feel camera-ready but posted anyway because authenticity meant showing all sides of life. She shared photos without filters, videos without perfect lighting, and stories about failures alongside successes. This vulnerability created a connection with her audience that transcended typical influencer-follower dynamics. People didn't just admire Caitlyn Robertson. They related to her. The numbers tell part of the story. Hundreds of thousands of followers, millions of likes, engagement rates that make brands salivate. But statistics don't capture the messages Caitlyn receives from young women who say her content helped them find their style, older women who felt fashion had left them behind until they discovered her inclusive approach, or people struggling with body image who found comfort in her honest discussions about self-acceptance. These connections, these moments of genuine impact, are what Caitlyn considers her real success. Her influence extends into tangible change within the industry. Brands she partners with have expanded their size ranges based on her feedback. Fashion companies have adopted more sustainable practices after she highlighted environmental concerns. Young designers have reached out, inspired by her journey to pursue their own creative paths. Caitlyn Robertson didn't just build a personal brand. She helped shift conversations about what fashion could and should be. Today, Caitlyn continues to evolve, understanding that relevance in the digital age requires constant growth without losing core values. She experiments with new platforms, explores different content formats, and collaborates with creators from various niches to bring fresh perspectives to her audience. She's launched initiatives to mentor aspiring influencers, sharing not just tips for better photos, but lessons about building sustainable careers based on authenticity rather than algorithms. Looking at her journey from those early days of fabric scraps and homemade outfits to becoming a recognized voice in fashion, what stands out isn't the glamorous transformation, but the consistency of purpose. Caitlin Robertson succeeded because she never forgot why she started. Every post, every partnership, every public appearance is filtered through the question of whether it serves her mission to make fashion accessible, inclusive, and empowering. Her story reminds us that influence isn't about perfection or unattainable standards. It's about connection, authenticity, and the courage to be yourself in a world constantly telling you to be someone else. Caitlin Robertson took her love for fashion, her belief in inclusivity, and her commitment to honesty, and built something that matters. She proved that you don't need to come from privilege or have industry connections to make an impact. You need vision, persistence, and the willingness to stay true to your values even when success offers easier paths. For anyone watching this and dreaming of making their mark, Caitlin's journey offers a blueprint. Start where you are, with what you have. Be genuine even when fabrication seems more profitable. Build community rather than just audience. Use your platform to lift others rather than just elevate yourself. Success measured solely in numbers is hollow, but success measured in positive impact creates legacies that outlast trends. The girl who once transformed thrift store finds in her bedroom is now transforming how millions think about fashion, beauty, and self-worth. Caitlin Robertson's story isn't finished. Every day brings new opportunities to create, inspire, and challenge the status quo. And if her journey so far has taught us anything, it's that the most powerful transformations happen when we dare to be authentically ourselves, when we use our voices to include rather than exclude, and when we remember that behind every screen is a person looking for connection, inspiration, and permission to embrace their own unique style.